What is up, you guys? It is a new episode because it's a new week and we're back. There's two things that may stand out to you. One, Lachelle, where are you? I'm in my bedroom because it is Saturday night. By the time I am recording this, it is 8:46 Saturday night. So I'm in the bed. I didn't leave my house. I had Starbucks. I watched college football, took a shower, washed my face, and I was like, this episode is going to have to be in the comfort of my bed. Second, different mic, not the same mic you've seen me with the past few weeks. My mic died on me. Very sad about this. It died on me. So we're rocking with this mic. For this episode, we are going to talk Colorado, Oregon. I'm going to break down some of the analysis that I saw from the game. But also, I'm going to speak to some things when it comes to being a college football fan and how you must have perspective when watching some of these games. May sprinkle in a little bit of us talking Clemson, Florida State, because that was a really good game. But a chunk of this episode will be Oregon and Colorado and kind of what I gathered from it, which is fine because there's different perspectives of everything, right? But it's going to be a good episode, I promise you. Stay tuned. We're about to get into it. First thing that I'm getting into when I'm talking Colorado, Oregon, they lost. Colorado lost 42-6. It was pretty much a shutout until that fourth quarter when Colorado finally scored on their tight end Harrison. And then they missed the extra point, which is how they got 6. Oregon was just completely dominant. So that's really the whole gist of it. They were completely dominant. Bo Nix looked really good, which is interesting to me because I feel like Bo Nix has been in college for a very long time. Very long time if you think about it. Very, very long time before he was just removed from the SEC, right? And offensively, I knew Oregon was faster. I just think they had more skilled players in the running back position. A steady offensive line to be able to get their runs off. And obviously, the playmakers on the receiving end who were also fast enough to be able to control the game. They did a lot of shallow crosses again, which that just seems to be Colorado's kryptonite. They can't defend the shallow cross. I saw a lot of that with Oregon. They pressured their DBs, but their running game is really the gist of it. So we talked total yards. Colorado had a total of 199 yards. That is passing and rushing combined. They only rushed for 40 yards. Only threw for 159. Oregon had 522 yards on the entire night, 282 passing, 240 rushing. That's a pretty even attack. If you're looking at those numbers, you evenly ran the ball really well and you evenly passed the ball really well. Penalties stopped Colorado a lot, just not being disciplined. They had over 103 yards in penalties. So you had more yards in penalties than you did running the ball. That's always an issue. Oregon only had 80 yards of penalties. Time of possession for Oregon was about 35 minutes. Colorado's time of possession was 24 minutes. So you're looking at almost a 10-minute difference. There were just a lot of things that were hard to gather. I think what is interesting to me about Colorado is that ever since they played TCU, I feel like they play very slow now compared to how they played with TCU. With TCU, I feel like they played very fast. They were very up-tempo. They were able to run and do the short passes, which they like to do, but that would open up for bigger plays, down the field plays. You have a great quarterback in Shedeur Sanders who has the ball strength, the arm strength to get the ball down there. But ever since TCU, I feel like they've played very conservative thus far. A lot of screen passes, more passes to the sideline instead of utilizing the entire field, going in the middle of the field, maybe even doing those shallow crosses that your defense can't defend, or slants or anything of that nature, maybe even post routes, curls, stop and goes. It just seems like they don't have a variation of things that their receivers would like to do, and I believe they have the quarterback to get the ball. That's usually the problem with a lot of teams. Do you have the quarterback who can distribute those type of passes to your wide receivers? And Colorado has that. I believe Shedeur Sanders can make any throw you give to him very accurately, on the ball, on the money, right where it needs to be. And it's like they don't utilize that. But I feel like ever since TCU and a little bit of Nebraska, they've just played very conservative, not very fast, not allowing their quarterback to really just command it and take those big shots down the field. I mean, all credit to Oregon. They played a very cohesive game. Defensively, they were attacking. They just clicked on all cylinders. Their coaching was really well. You could tell they had a scheme. If you ask me, I think they took the air out of Colorado when they went for the fake punt. I think they kind of commanded it after that. To do that so early in the game in the first half, I mean, you got to call it like it is. Them calling that is because they don't respect Colorado or didn't respect them. They were daring them. Like, okay, show us what you're going to do if we end up doing this fake punt. So that was a big thing to me in the game. Again, I believe Bo Nix to be who Bo Nix is. I mean, he had a great game, and obviously he's in the Heisman running, but I've seen Bo Nix have more sometimes average games and spectacular games. So I'm not going to overreact about this game, but he played very well. I mean, you can't deny it. 28 for 33, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. That's a really great game. For Shedeur Sanders, this is the first game he's had under 300 yards, 23 for 33, 1 touchdown, 159. So it's a difference, right? You give Oregon their credit. Now, when it comes to Colorado, I don't believe this is something to panic about. I say this to more casual college football fans. I feel like a lot more people are watching college football to watch Colorado and don't actually watch college football. So I feel like they are under the impression that these teams that Colorado are playing are not good. I think like you go into it thinking that Oregon is Colorado State. No offense to Colorado State, but Oregon's a good team. They've had a good football team for quite some time. They're a very fast team. I think casual college football fans who are more Colorado and Coach Prime fans aren't really like watching college football, so they take a lot of things personal when these games happen instead of understanding that like college football is ruthless. Fans in college football are so much more unhinged than NFL fans. Like college football fans are just a different breed. It's a different atmosphere. And if you don't like it, it's not going to change. It's very aggressive. I feel like Colorado losing, it wasn't something for me to panic about because you look at the landscape of how they're going to have to play in the Pac-12. There's a lot of tough teams you have to play. They're in the thick of their schedule now, which is Pac-12 play. You got Oregon, you just lost. You got USC next week. After that, it's Arizona State, Arizona, UCLA, Utah, who is the sleeper for everyone in the Pac-12, it seems like. And their star quarterback isn't even playing just yet. So I think casual football fans aren't really watching these games and understanding what it's like. If you're Colorado, obviously you just take it for what it is. You take it on the chin. You got your butt whooped. Fine. Like you assess what it is. Coach Prime said something really good. He was like, it was just an old-fashioned butt whooping. Like it is what it is. We didn't play great. We played bad, but like everyone didn't play bad. Everyone didn't coach bad. So you assess it. You assess it for what it is. Two things can be true. You can support and love a team and still be honest about what you saw. I love Colorado, and I am rooting for their success. I love Coach Prime. You can also say that, and I could be honest in my assessment of what I saw. You don't have to pick one or the other. Just because you love the team and support them and want the best for them doesn't mean you have to turn a blind eye to what you just saw. It could just be true. They played horrible, and I still want them to succeed. It's a long season for them. I think people have to realize this Colorado team is not meant to win a national championship this year. It's a process. Coach Prime said in the beginning, I'm 7 to 8 dogs short from it being the team that we need to be. So you go into this season understanding it's a rebuild season to begin with. The fact that they're 3-1 is already a great start when you only won one game last year. They only won one game last year. So to be 3-1, you take your losses, you count your wins, and you try to assess and get better for next week. They go home next week. They play USC. That's a big game. That's a tough game. But you are in the luxury of your home. How are you going to respond after you took that 1-L? Do you want 2 L's? That's all it is. And I think people, because, again, they're casual fans, they're making this more personal. So a lot of people didn't like that Oregon's head coach, Dan Lanning, had his pregame speech, and he was like, the Cinderella story is over today. We not here for the clicks. We here to play with our pads and go out there and play with substance. People had a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. I just didn't. I didn't have a problem with what he said in the pregame speech because for once, I feel like he is the only coach, other than I guess TCU, that didn't take personal shots at Coach Prime. I feel like when you talk about Coach Norvell for Colorado State, he was speaking to the character of Coach Prime by saying he was raised right and Coach Prime wasn't with the sunglasses and hat. They brought up Nebraska. Things were said about Coach Prime that they believed a man shouldn't say about another man. To me, Oregon's coach Lanning is the only one to not take a personal attack and really still make it about his team. Pre-game speeches happen. This is why I say this to casual football fans, because then you start to overanalyze what every coach is saying when they play Coach Prime. I seen a tweet that was like, would Coach Lanning be making this pregame speech if Travis Hunter was playing? Yes, he would. I think the pregame speech would be completely the same even if Travis Hunter was playing. But this is when I say people aren't watching college football, so you start taking everything personal. Yes, there are certain things that are said about Colorado and Coach Prime that we can all say, hey, that's not cool. That's personal. To me, Coach Lanning didn't make the pregame speech personal. People are like, well, he shouldn't have brought up the Cinderella story is over. Have y'all ever sat in a pregame speech before? Ever. Coaches will use anything to get motivation out of their players to play a very hyped game. That is his job. His job is to get his players in a position to go to war on that football field and win. And I like it because, like he said, let our pads and helmets do the talking. That's football. So I took from his pregame speech, y'all go play football. People are like, well, why did he have to say the clicks? Because, to be honest, Colorado has all the hype. His players see that. They know that. They're young men, too, who have social media. He's speaking a language that they understand, which is, hey, let's go play. They here for the clicks. I didn't see a problem with it. And everyone took it so personal, like, that's corny. Why would he say that? And it's just like, have you ever sat in a pregame speech? Ever? And to me, you can't be hypocritical, right? Before the game, Colorado is seen walking on Oregon's logo before the game in the middle of the field. And players are swiping their feet over the O and everything. So you can't be hypocritical if one team is able to talk their trash and talk their talk and somebody else isn't. You can't do that. You have to be fair. I'm okay with Colorado going to be at the middle of the field at the logo. That means I need to be okay with the pregame speech where I feel like literally he's the only coach not to take a direct shot at the character of that program. He's just saying, this is what it is, and this is what I'm telling y'all. And if you really listen to the speech, he really is trying to tell them, go play our brand of football. Let them play their brand, but don't get caught up in it to where you think you have to match that. Just go play Oregon football. To me, that's fine. That's okay. I didn't see an issue with it. Everyone's like, well, I feel like he should have talked trash throughout the whole week. And a pregame speech is a pregame speech. He gives a pregame speech before every game. The difference is it was Colorado and the cameras was there. It's the only difference, right? All coaches around the nation will pull anything for inspiration out of their pregame speeches for their players. Literally, if you just watch Ohio State and Notre Dame, Coach Day got up there and said to Lou Holtz, I heard what you said. He went crazy. He was like, I heard what you said. And my team, these young men fight. Everyone takes motivation because it's football. It's football. To me, it wasn't personal what Coach Lanning said. It's just a pregame speech. And he has to pull inspiration for those guys. And you got to put yourself in Oregon's players' shoes. If you finna go play Colorado, you want your coach just talking all soft to you and, hey, let's go out there. Nah, you got to amp people up to go out there on that football field. And that's why I say you can't take everything so personal. It's sports. Don't let the sensitivity of you liking someone and rooting for someone change your perspective that it's still football and it's a competitive sport. Simple as that. Like, you have to, if you're okay with Colorado getting to talk their talk when they win, which is fair. I believe in the saying, all is fair is winning. I have no problem with Shedeur Sanders when he flexes his watch. I have no problem with that when they win. That doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me when they get in the pregame and they say, hey, we going to do what we do. It don't bother me when Coach Prime talks confidently about his team. That does not bother me. So y'all can't be mad about a pregame speech of another coach trying to make sure his team is ready to go to war. Can't do it. Unless it's personal shots to character and just nasty things that you're saying, then I'm not okay with it. But that pregame speech is people trying to overplay it to be something it's not that deep to me. Also, too, I do find it weird. There's a fine line for me with college football, right? I believe you could just not like a team and just not like them. Like, for instance, I'm not a big fan of the Cowboys. I'm not a big fan of the Saints. But, that's fine, right? Because that's opinion. That's your perspective and your opinion. You're allowed to make a choice of what teams you don't want to root for or not. People have their reasons why they don't want to root for Colorado, and some of it is underlying racial tones, right, of this black man who's very bold and very confident and very outspoken and, does his thing, his style, like his swag. That's what they are, where that rubs people the wrong way. And people would rather dislike him because of his confidence. That is a true fact. And that's where I think it's very weird just to hate a team, right? Because of you really disliking a person. But this is the thing. If you have known about Coach Deion Sanders, and I think a lot of people are just getting introduced to him because of college football, the man has always been in these battles with people where they just didn't like him because of who he was. This man has been consistently himself since he was at Florida State. He's been consistently himself since he was in the NFL. This is nothing new. You're not going to change his confidence. You're not going to change his personality or his demeanor. But it has always rubbed some people the wrong way who have insecurities, which he said, if you don't like us because we're confident, that's just your insecurity, which is true. That's all that is. So this is not new. This is not new, right? Coach Prime got in the post game and he was very honest. Again, he gave an honest assessment of his team. Like I said, he was like, we got our butt whooped. We didn't play great. That's what it was. But he said something that I liked. He said, I like where we are. He was like, I keep receipts. I won't say it just for clicks, which he was referring to that pregame speech. And that's okay because he's allowed to keep those receipts because next year he's going to have a better team. Go talk with your pads. It's okay in the realm of sports, right? Trash talking, all of that is what it's supposed to be. And I'm okay with that. And everyone else has to learn how to be okay with it too and not take all these games so personal because you are rooting for Coach Prime in Colorado. Like, I want them to succeed, but it's also sports and competitive nature. You can't be sensitive and soft about everything that is being said when it leads up to these games. These are big games, hype games. When you're bringing in 9.3 million viewers, coaches have to raise their level as well. That's a lot, right? And I liked what he said because he was like, you better get us now. And I like that because he understands we're not where we need to be right now. He been said, I need 7 to 8 more dogs. But he was like, you better get me now. Because he was like, next year is going to be different. And I love what he said. He said, I got my shades on, but I can see the future. And it's bright. He understands what this is. We are not meant to go undefeated this year. That is fine. I have peace in that. But I know what I have in this program, which is some playmakers. I know I'm going to have a top recruiting class. I know I'm going to get what I need out this transfer portal. I only need a few more dogs and this team is complete. That's why you can't take this loss personal. Because if you look at the schedule, there was bound to be some L's. And that's okay. What you want to make sure is that your team is still fighting. You want to make sure that the good things that you can work on, you can see. And that you're able to see your weaknesses now and get them out. Colorado has a few weaknesses. Their defensive line is not good. They have solid linebackers, but no real edge rushers. No defensive ends. Their defensive line is just bad. They can't stop a rush. Their safeties kind of struggle in the middle of coverage with those shallow crosses. So what do you do in the offseason? You go get you some defensive linemen. That's what you go get. Second struggle, their offensive line is not good. It doesn't give Shedeur Sanders enough time to be in the pocket and deliver these throws that we know he can make. Hence, I understand why they may do these screen passes, but I feel like they could substitute these screen passes and just start using shallow crosses and short slants and have more effectiveness and get more yards and first downs, capitalizing off the middle of the field. But they need an offensive line. It's one of the worst offensive lines I've ever seen. Their run game is not existent because that offensive line is not good. You go to offseason, you go get you some offensive linemen, some big boys, some grown men, because the game is won in the trenches. And everyone who doesn't really watch football think it is won all these different ways. It's won in the trenches. Do you have an offensive line to where you can start pounding the ball on a defense and wearing them down? Colorado doesn't have that yet. What did you do this offseason? You get some defensive linemen who can get to a quarterback, and you get you some offensive linemen to protect your quarterback. Now we're talking. Special teams is going to have to be better going forward. You allowed a 2-point conversion. That was a mess. And then you allowed this fake punt. Something has to change. But they're still in a good position. And that's what everyone has to understand. You can love a team and root for them and be honest about what they look like in the season. This is not the year that Colorado's winning a national championship. But I know for a fact next year, they're going to be exactly where they're supposed to be because they're going to go get exactly what they need. The program is not far off, but this is a rebuilding year. They're already at a great start. They're only 3-1. That's a great start. But everyone cannot take these losses personal. Like, there are people who just hate Colorado and Coach Prime. Absolutely. I'd be naive to be like, that's not a real... That's very real. Excuse me. Some people just do not like them. Like, at all. You know? And some of it, like I said, is racial undertones. Like that, we can't act like that's not a thing. What I'm saying is, for a lot of people, it's not that, though. For some people, it's really just football. When people talk about the Oregon head coach, Lanning, I think people fail to realize that there are other coaches out here who actively like the challenge of a good football game and a good fight. They like that. They like the talking. Lanning comes from the SEC. He was at Georgia under Coach Smart. SEC talk and Pac-12 talk are two different levels. You go look at some message boards for SEC football and you will be mind blown at the things people say. So to me, I don't even think Coach Lanning takes it personal. It's like, man, this is football, and I'm trying to actually go contend for a national championship. Like, I'm actually looking at my schedule and understanding we got to sit here and win games. If you paid attention to the post game after they won, he didn't even really talk about it. He was like, we got to kind of play better on the things we didn't do good at because we got a tough schedule coming up. He already is looking ahead like, man, great win, cool, but like, we got some struggles coming up too, just like Colorado. That's why I say, like, casual fans are starting to turn this thing so personal. And I think that's what happens because a lot of the other games were personal. There were personal shots. So I think fans are now stuck in this personal mode, and then you start playing other coaches, and it's like, y'all can't be trying to critique every coach that may talk pregame to their team because you feel like they shouldn't, and because of Coach Prime. That's not fair. That's not fair, nor is it right. Just like Oregon's players throwing up their watches and stuff, they're allowed to do that. You won. Y'all can't critique everything, right? All I'm saying is you enjoy it, but Colorado will be fine. Colorado will be just fine. They will be just fine. I'm telling you. Next year, they're going to have everything that they need. So you find joy in what this is because you know there's going to be some L's along the way, but that's why Coach Prime ain't worried. It's fine. They're still going to be okay. Travis Hunter was out. Their star player was out. He does impact and affect the game. Do I think there's a different result if Travis was there? I don't know. I don't really think so. But it does give you a better chance, right? Like, he's another scorer offensively that most people can't really cover unless you're double covering them. But so much attention would have been on him that you get other players open. Defensively, you're taking away an entire side of the field because you really aren't going to want to throw towards him. So he would have impacted the game positively for Colorado. But the case is, right now we won't know because he wasn't there, right? But I do get it. If he's there, you have a better fighting chance. So, because he does impact the game so much. But Colorado's in a good spot. Everybody shouldn't worry. Everybody shouldn't take it so personal. Don't be soft or sensitive when it comes to sports. Like, trash talk is a thing. Like, it's okay. And all is fair in winning at the end of the day. So, like I say, as long as you're not talking nasty about someone, saying their character, really slandering them, I'm cool with the trash talk. Like, especially if you bagging it up. And for Oregon, they bagged it up. They won. All is fair when you win. But Colorado will be fine. Everyone, just calm down. I promise you. They will be okay. You can root for them and make an honest assessment and observation of what we saw today. But I'm still rooting for Colorado and Coach Prime. Many more wins that they're going to get in this season. But better to get your losses out the way now because there's a lot of wins for them to come. And you learn from it. You bounce back. You're going to tell a lot about this team, how they respond after that. And I believe that they're fighters. So I'm all rooting for Colorado, Coach Prime. It's all going to be good. It is just football, though. You take the wins and the losses, the goods and the bads, and you got to see what you do next week. I was watching the Florida State-Clemson game. Clemson is interesting to me for many reasons. That offensive play call that they had towards the end when they got to overtime was very odd to me. The fact that they weren't able to spike the ball, weird. They just don't seem offensively coherent. I will say this, though, about Florida State. Keon Coleman is a first rounder. Hello, he is a first rounder. He's not going to be on the board long come this NFL draft because the man has continuously been the best receiver for them on that field for Florida State and has continuously delivered for them. Every time. He had some big catches in this game. Huge catches. That man's a first rounder. I'll even argue that he may be top 5 wide receivers in college football right now. Maybe even top 3 how he's playing. It's just, he's big. He's strong. He has great hands. His route running is impeccable. You know for a fact any jump ball is 50-50 for him because he is so tall. Man, he's a first rounder. Florida State is lucky to have him. I think what their coach is doing is really impressive. I think Florida State is finally trying to find that culture and tradition that they've had for so long, and I think this is a year that they could do it. Jordan Travis looks really good. I think he's been really slinging the ball way better than he did last year. I think he's going through his progressions really well. He just has a piece. You can tell he's commanding the field. Defensively, they're showing up. Clemson, though, I don't know. I'm a little worried for Coach Dabo. I'm worried. After you lose to Duke, I already was like, what is going on here? So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back from this because it's just not good. Like, I'm about to see who they play next because I got my laptop right here. If y'all was wondering why I was looking down. Let's see. Because, like, it's just not good. It's just, it's not good. They got Syracuse, Wake Forest, Miami, NC State, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, South Carolina. I feel like they'll beat Syracuse and Wake Forest. Miami might be tough. So I don't know. After you lose to Duke, though, it's just hard for me to stay on the side with you. But Clemson is struggling. I mean, Klubnik, 25 for 38, 283 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't know. Offensively, they're just not good. They're just not good. They're not clicking. Like, I'm looking at some of these stats. Like, it just, nah. And it's crazy because they had more total yards than Florida State. They had 429 total yards to Florida State's 311. They ran the ball amazing. Florida State only had 22 yards rushing. And they barely lost the passing battle because Florida State had 289 yards passing. Clemson had 283. But it comes down to coaching. That last play, it was a mess. But hopefully Clemson figures it out. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from Florida State. I mean, they're going to continue to climb up the rankings. Obviously, if they keep stringing together these wins, they're 4-0 now, 2-0 in conference. Clemson's 2-2 now. And I think Clemson is 0-2 in conference. So next on Florida State, they got Virginia Tech, they got Syracuse, they got Duke, Wake Forest, Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, and Florida. They could possibly not lose a game. Is it possible? Might be. I think they're looking really good. So we're going to see. But again, if you haven't jumped on the Keon Coleman train, jump on it. I'm telling you, the man's a first rounder. Some NFL team is going to be lucky to have him. They are. So I'm impressed what I'm seeing from Florida State right now. Y'all, I am sad because Winning Time, if you haven't watched Winning Time, it's on HBO Max, got canceled after season 2. We just had the season 2 finale. Please pay the writers. Please pay the people who make these shows go. The strike, I don't like it because it is depriving us of all the shows that we love to watch. And you can't have a good show without writers. Why don't y'all want to pay them? Pay them. It got canceled, and they said it was because of viewership and numbers. If you haven't seen Winning Time, it is pretty much about the Lakers dynasty, right? And it's all off of a book that was written from technically a journalist that was there during the Showtime Lakers time. So Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all of that. And it takes you, first season, you like get a glimpse when Magic finds out that he's been diagnosed with AIDS. And then it like backwards to when he gets drafted and everything. It's so good. It's so good. And you should watch it. The first season was good to the point where you're like, season 2 has to happen, and you got Larry Bird there, you see Dr. Buzz, you got Chick Hearn, you got Jerry West, Pat Riley, all of it. It's so good. And season 2, they end with the Celtics winning. This is the crazy thing. You know a show is good when something has already happened, like this is already in the history books who won, and you are watching the show hoping that there's a different outcome. That's how I felt when I was watching. They were in the 1984 finals, and I knew Boston won already. Like, this is already knowledge. But I'm watching it like, I hope the Lakers win. That's how you know a show is good, when it is you want to change the outcome that's already happened. They casted really well. Really, really, really well for this show. If you was to put a picture of the guy who plays Dr. Buzz side by side, you'd be like, whoa. The guy who plays Pat Riley, it's really good. The guy who plays Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all of that. I think they casted really well. They give you this old-timey feel where you feel like you're back there, even how the games are called and just like the footage that they use. They try to get it spot on to like factual things that happened during that time. So even like interviews and things like that in press conferences, it was a big thing because a lot of players didn't like the show. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic, Jerry West, they were very against it in the first season because they felt like it depicted them in a light that wasn't true. Jerry West didn't like it because he was like, they're depicting me to be this angry, like crazy person, and that wasn't me. Kareem said he really wasn't a fan. Magic said he wasn't a fan because he was like, how can you tell the story without us? Jeannie Buss wasn't a big fan of it, but then season 2, she kind of promoted it a little bit and was like, go watch it. But it is true. Some things are very factual and then some things are very dramatic and not real. You know, like there are fabrications because it's TV. So you can't take everything as what they're saying, but some of the things that they are saying are very factual and very spot on. But it is a great show. If you haven't seen it, go watch it on HBO Max. It's still there, season 1 and 2. I don't know if we're getting to season 3. I pray somebody picks it up. FX, Hulu, Apple TV, somebody pick it up. You could have almost 3, I'm telling you, you could have 3 to 5 seasons of this show because you end with the loss. So we haven't even really touched when they just start winning back to back. We haven't even touched on the tragic Magic era. We didn't even really get a glimpse of when James Worthy really started hooping for them. We just started the Pat Riley era, so we're not even fully enthralled in that yet. They could have even added the bad boy Pistons in there. They could have sprinkled a little bit of MJ in there at the Bulls. They could do a lot with this. You could even really fast forward this thing and take us to the Kobe and Shaq era with Phil Jackson. There's a lot that they could do. It's a lot they could do. So hopefully they figure it out because I'm going to miss the show. It was so good. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. All right, you guys, that is the end of this episode. I'm always grateful to talk to y'all every week, and obviously this one's special because I'm in the comfort of my bed. So hopefully you're in the comfort of your home too when you're watching this, but I appreciate you guys every time coming to tune in every week to listen to me and talk to me. Hit me up in the comments, like, comment, subscribe so we can talk more, and I am hoping that you guys have a blessed and wonderful week. Praying nothing but good things and protection over everyone that watches this. And I am immensely grateful and blessed anytime you take the time out of your day and your time of your life to sit and watch me talk about sports, or in this case, a few TV shows. It never goes just unnoticed to me. So I'm immensely thankful and grateful for everyone that tunes in and subscribes every week. Make sure you tell a friend, tell your parents, tell your brother, your sister, your family to come tune in to the channel. I appreciate you guys, and I will be seeing you next week, hopefully with a new mic.